Though we have all traveled many uncertain roads, we have always recognized something wasn't right. We searched high and low, yet our paths had never intersected. Our desire to seek truth, then to speak true, has brought us all together. That thing of ours is rooted in truth, because truth is the only unshakable foundation. In the greatest book, it states in John 8:32, "For ye shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free."
Truth is a powerful force. It is the foundation on which all great achievements are built, and the bedrock of trust and respect in any relationship. When we are rooted in truth, we can be confident that our decisions and actions are grounded in reality rather than in speculation or wishful thinking.
The pursuit of truth is not always easy. It requires courage, perseverance, and a willingness to face uncomfortable facts. But in the end, the truth is always worth it. It allows us to make better decisions, to build stronger relationships, and to create a more just and equitable world.
From politics and world events to entertainment and pop culture, we've got you covered. We'll explore our history and the stories that matter to uncover the truth that lies at the heart of each one. With our fingers on the pulse of the news cycle, we'll provide the insights and analysis you need to stay informed and engaged. As we stay rooted in truth and let the truth guide us in all that we do, let us be willing to listen, to learn, and seek out the facts, even when they challenge our own assumption or belief.
Let us never forget that the pursuit of truth is not just an individual endeavor, but a collective one. Only by working together
With honesty and integrity,
can we build a better future for ourselves
And for generations to come.
This is That Thing of Ours. How's it going, everybody? Thank you for joining us today on this Friday, 6th of December, 2024. I'd like to thank each and every one of you for joining us on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, X, Rumble, and Pill.net.
and if you haven't already, please take a minute and give us that virtual hug. If you're over on YouTube or Rumble, hit that thumbs up. If you're over on pill.net, take that red pill. If you're over on X, smash that heart. And if you're on Facebook, you have like 7 choices. So just clickety click.
Start pushing buttons. We know y'all love pushing buttons. Hit those buttons. It helps us out, and we are truly appreciative of that.
We are.
We are.
We really are. Let's say hi to the fam.
Hi to the fam.
We got Aaron in the house.
Yo, Aaron, what's going on, man?
Got Chachi in the house.
Hey, Chachi.
Got F. Clint in the house.
Hey, F. Clint.
Got Mike in the house. Are you working tonight or did you get
Mike.
out of that?
He should be driving home today.
Yeah, he should be.
Should be. Hopefully, he's driving home.
There's Miss Jenny.
Jenny!
Watch out for the frogs, Jenny.
Watch out for the frogs, Jenny. We just ran through everybody real fast right there.
I know.
But it's Friday.
Oh, the kids are wrapping gifts to put under the tree. That's
Ooh.
awesome. That is awesome.
Sounds fun.
Yes.
Nice. It always sets the season, doesn't it?
It does.
It does.
It really does. That and snow for me.
I mean, there is that. Except
Yeah.
for, like, in a lot of places, you have to shovel it, and that sucks.
Well, there's that.
I mean, there is that.
But you know, what are you going to do?
Shovel snow.
Oh, he's working all weekend.
Working all weekend. Taking a break right now. All right. Well,
You need a break.
enjoy working, I guess. If nothing else, enjoy the break.
Yes, take the break. Enjoy the break.
And thank you for deciding to spend that with us.
Yes, we appreciate
I don't know
that.
why, but yeah, I do appreciate it.
Are you ready?
Yes, ma'am.
Can you read that, please?
North Carolina Democrat called into C-SPAN to express his support for Pete Hegseth.
Ready?
Yeah.
Also in North Carolina, Concord Democrat. Good morning.
Good morning. Y'all having a great day. Yes, Pete Hegseth he's qualified. The man's done everything. He's God-fearing. And that's all you need to be qualified. And then you have men and women who think that they are above or have the better knowledge of the person. I don't think so. We have a 4-star general running our Air Force that right now has said that we have too many white people in there. He's biased, and he's a 4-star general. We have fans in our Congress. That's okay. You think that's okay? but it's not. All that is wrong. Y'all have a great day.
Thoughts?
So, I mean, I know that there's a lot of people excited about Pete Hegseth. He's a solid candidate, solid choice, and I expect a lot of good things. This man knows what he's doing. Didn't he just have like 100 Navy SEALs write a letter of support saying that this is the guy that we need?
Yeah.
And that's a pretty strong endorsement. I think that, those are the kinds of things that speak a lot more about his capability and his ability to lead. If the true pipe hitters that are out there are saying this is the guy we want, I'm going to say that speaks volumes in terms of the direction President Trump is trying to bring this nation. And then, of course, we can expect the whiny titty babies over there on the left to complain about the fact that, they are titty babies. Otherwise, they'd like grow up some. But yeah, anyways, yeah, whatever. So, of course, we're going to listen to them whine and complain. That's what titty babies do. Hey, Colleen, thank you for joining us.
Hey, Carol.
And Carol, too. Hey, Carol.
Yay, everyone's showing up.
I know.
So, you ready?
Yes, ma'am.
Take a listen to this.
All right, we shall.
I'm a different man than I was years ago. And that's a redemption story that I think a lot of Americans appreciate. And I know from fellow vets that I've spent time with, they resonate with that as well. You fight, you go do tough things in tough places on behalf of your country. And sometimes that changes you a little bit. And by the grace of God and my Lord and Savior, I had an opportunity to come on up out of it and do great things with great veterans organizations that fought for vets. And I'm proud of what I fought for. I'm not going to back down from them one bit. I will answer all of these senators' questions, but this will not be a process tried in the media. I don't answer to anyone in this group. None of you, not to that camera at all. I answer to President Trump, who received 76 million votes on behalf and a mandate for change. I answer to the 100 senators who are part of this process and those in the committee. And I answer to my Lord and Savior and my wife and my family. I'm proud to be here. And as long as Donald Trump wants me in this fight, I'm going to be standing right here in this fight. I'm a different man.
Thoughts?
So,
And you know it changes you.
Oh, I know it changes you, but let's think about what it is we're asking these young men and women to do. First of all, they're barely 21 or they're waiting to be 21. And then once they hit that point, yeah, or less. But once they hit that 21 years old, I mean, the gloves are off. Guys are going out there drinking, doing all the things that 21-year-old men do. But the difference is that their outlook on life is probably a little bit different than those who get the opportunity to go to college. And that different outlook on life is one of a short lifespan. And so the people that are in the military have a tendency to live life to the fullest. And that generally means that they're going out and doing things that they're going to end up regretting in the long run. So, yeah, why would he not have? Did we expect him to be some kind of stoic philosopher when he was 21 years old in the military? I don't know if that's exactly, how that works. I didn't see too many of those. Are there people out there? Yes, 100%. But the thing is when you're in the military, you take chances and risks because you are trying to live in a kind of profession where people don't have a tendency to live a long time if it's go time, right? And so I have all the forgiveness for this man for anything that he's accused of, simply because I understand what it's like. I know that I made as many mistakes as him, if not more. So who am I to sit in judgment? And that's the other thing, is all these people are trying to cast stones, but we know that all these people that are casting stones against him are the very people who are probably doing the same thing and worse that they're accusing him of having done once upon a time. See, the thing is America is about second chances. America is about the ability to overcome the obstacles that life has thrown against us, and they shouldn't be held against us in perpetuity. See, the thing is it's even written in our Constitution that a justice or a judge can't hold previous convictions against somebody. Obviously, it's going to apply to it, but that can't be the reason why somebody gets convicted of something. And so we can't hold these things against people. Otherwise, we're being disingenuous and saying that, we have achieved the reception of the Holy Spirit and we are without sin now. And even then, I think that if somebody was to receive the Holy Spirit and all of their sins have been absolved, I have a feeling that they're not going to sit in judgment of people who are on that path to get to that point at some point in time during their life. I don't know. The press is going to be the press. Hey, Turber, thank you for joining. Mike says, I just can't believe young soldier would drink beer and chase tail. I know, ridiculous. Amazing. Yeah. It's only for frat houses and sorority houses and stuff like that, because people in the military don't do that kind of stuff. Yeah. Jenny says, no one's perfect. We're all sinners. Yeah, except for the press. Apparently they're all perfect. Yeah. Aaron says that, Mike, when I went to boot camp, we would sneak out to the girls' barracks and get frisky. Well, I can see why you didn't. Get in trouble for doing shit like that. Anyways, Mike says that must be why you don't see any construction workers in DC.
That's funny.
That is funny.
That was good, Mike. That was good. Are you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Can you read that, please?
Former DOD official Eldridge Colby makes a case for Senate letting Trump have his picks.
Ready?
I mean, other than the fact that they should, but whatever.
Let's listen.
Yeah, we should.
Pete Hegseth's been out there in the Senate making the case, as well as on media. He's got a lot of allies coming out for him, vouching for him. I think my view is that, frankly, the president of the United States deserves a presumption that the people that he nominates, should be the ones who serve in those positions. I mean, I think we talked a little bit earlier. What do these this pick mean or that pick mean? I think this is Donald Trump's agenda. It's putting Americans first. It's ending the forever wars. As he said, I don't start wars, I stop them. So I think that's the way I look at it. In terms of, how the Senate's going to react, that's obviously sort of unpredictable. But I think Pete and others are making a very strong case for why he'd be an excellent Secretary of Defense.
Thoughts?
I mean, anything's going to look like a good Secretary of Defense after the crap that we have now, right?
Well, there's that.
I mean, there is that. Yeah, we can't compare them to, like the current SecDef.
Exactly. He's such a...
Again,
nice,
it's all going to be shenanigans. They're going to do shenanigans until they have no more shenanigans that they can play.
I know. You ready?
Yeah.
Can you read that, please?
Scott Jennings tells CNN panel that Pete Hegseth is getting Kavanaugh'd.
Ready?
Huh? Yeah.
What's the standard? What you said voluminous. What would you say? I have a plethora of pinatas.
Well,
I mean, look, a lot of Republicans right now. Some of this is starting to feel a little bit like the Kavanaugh confirmation hearing, where you have a lot of anonymous, a lot of innuendo, a lot of people using words like voluminous, and people, sort of piling on here without really any substantive, on the record stuff to back it up. So what I would recommend is that he continue to fight for his own reputation, that we get to a hearing and we put everybody under oath, and then we see where the chips fall. He's got two fights. One is reputational. One is also, can you do the job? And so he's fighting a two-front battle in the Senate, and that's a real thing. And he needs to cross the
hearing of all.
No, one dude's he's not happy with what he has to say.
Thoughts?
Oh, there we go. You want to try that?
Thoughts?
There we go. All right. So, yeah, he's getting Kavanaugh'd. We know this. That's what they have. Bunch of anonymous reports, a bunch of anonymous sources. Well, trying to protect, blah, blah, blah. Oh, so you're in the press. No? Oh, okay. Well, then I don't think that you have the authority to protect anonymous sources. And if this is somebody who's going to be the Supreme Court justice, or not Supreme Court, but any of these people who are getting appointed to these positions that President Trump's coming up, we need facts, not insinuations. We don't need hearsay. We need to use reason and logic to determine whether or not these appointees are worth putting in these high offices.
That's crazy talk.
I know, crazy
logic.
talk. Well,
are you silly?
Well, we know they're not going to do that. So what do? We just have to sit back and grab your popcorn. I know everybody's tired of popcorn.
Do we have something else?
Nope. Still time for popcorn. Keep eating the popcorn. Everything will be fine.
I'm over popcorn.
I know, babe.
Are you ready?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wait. Chachi said something.
You can really feel in their glare, they really hate getting called out on their BS. Boy, isn't that the truth? You can just see it. It's like, oh, you shouldn't be saying that. This would never have happened before when we were being paid to be told what to say. And now you're ruining it all.
Yeah.
Anyways, Mike says recess appointments. It don't matter what people think about him. And I know that that's going to be something. And I know that the press is going to, oh, he did so many recess appointments.
Not
and then,
as many as Obama,
Yeah,
I guarantee you.
I guarantee you the same thing. I guarantee you, and they're going to leave that factoid out. And that's the thing that we're going to say. So why don't we just go ahead and say it now? President Trump didn't do as many recess appointments as President Obama did. There, we said it. We got it out of the way. Let's move on.
Right?
But I know we're still going to have to go through it. So
I know.
see the popcorn reference from earlier.
Yeah. You ready?
Yeah.
Let's listen.
All right.
The Bible says in Psalm 46:1 that God is a very present help in the time of trouble. Maybe you are under the assumption that your tribulation is indicative of the absence of God's presence, of the absence of God himself. But I want to remind you that the Bible actually says that in our time of trouble, God is right there. That in our time of need, God is right there with you. He hasn't forsaken you. He hasn't abandoned you. You feel forsaken, but it doesn't change the promise of his word that he is with you even in the storm. That he is with you even in the trials and tribulations of life. He will never forsake you, nor will he ever leave you.
Wherever you would call me.
Thoughts?
He's always there. We know this. Yeah, we may not know it in the moment. And that's kind of one of the challenges and the difficulties in life is it may not seem like he's there, but we also know that those are the times when he's truly doing all of the miracles that he bestows upon us is when we feel like he's not there. That's when we do a lot of our growth. So we just have to recognize that he will be there and he's just for a little while. It's soon and you will have made it through these trials and tribulations, these challenges in life. But we have to know that he's always there. And you know that he's always there because you still have the spark of life within you. Good for thoughts.
It's like on Chosen when he kept saying, when Jesus kept saying soon to like his mom and to the disciples. It's like that really made me realize soon is relative.
It is relative.
So anyway, you ready?
Mm-hmm.
Can you read that, please?
Nigel Farage fully amused after comment about Trump from someone in the audience.
Ready?
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. I was just
I've only got about 40 seconds left.
Just an observation, really. I mean, Trump's been elected into the US to be leader of the free world, and they seem so buoyant. He's hit the ground running. I mean, over here, our government just hit the ground. It seems a complete contrast.
Okay. That's there in the red tie.
Thoughts?
I was reading the comments. I messed up on that one. As you can tell, we're a real professional show around here.
Listen.
Oh, geez. My bad, y'all. I failed.
Yeah, I was just
I've only got about 40 seconds left.
Just an observation, really. I mean, Trump's been elected into the US to be leader of the free world, and they seem so buoyant. He's hit the ground running. I mean, over here, our government just hit the ground. It seems a complete contrast.
Okay. That's there in the red tie.
All right, there we go. Hey, Bill. See
Bill.
how? Yeah, Bill showed up, but I couldn't even read what Bill said now because I was too busy being focused on that.
Oh,
I'm a dude.
baby.
One track mind. That's all I got. Sorry. Whatever. Anyways.
Okay.
So, yeah, Britain. The thing about the UK right now is they see that we're starting to make these steps, and I'm sure it gives them a lot of hope. I've seen a lot of people over in the UK talking about that they're truly excited because they know that it will have lasting effects over there in the UK because they know that everything sucks over there real bad. They got a lot of work to do over there, and I think that that's kind of what he was getting at is you know, they're just hitting the ground right, or you know, we're starting on this, and they're just hitting the ground, and so it's one more of those things that's just going to have to play out, and we're going to see how it works out. Hey, not my name. What's going on? Thanks for joining.
You ready?
Yeah.
Can you read that, please?
All right. Donald Trump promises to bring country back at Fox Nation Patriot Awards.
Ready?
Yeah.
And we're going to bring our country back, and it's going to be bigger and better and stronger than ever before. And we're going to be proud of our country again. Right now, we're not so proud of our country. We're going to be very proud of our country again. It's going to be better than ever before. It's going to be more successful than ever before. We're going to be more respected throughout the world than ever before. Countries are going to respect us again. They already do, actually. I think you have seen more happen in the last 2 weeks than you've seen in the last 4 years, and we're not even there yet.
Thoughts?
Oh, it's happening.
Oh, I'm
And
loving
I
the
think,
winning
what the hell
already.
is going on here? Anyways, the winning has already started, and he hasn't even been inaugurated yet.
I know.
And I wanted to point something out, and it was the Q results, or not the Q results, the Q drops, and they were talking about this kind of thing specific. Oh my gosh, it's. We represent you. Never forget that. We never will. MAGA. No, that wasn't it. Watch the news. Leakers exposed. Yeah, there were so many. But regardless, we know that President Trump is going to be cleaning house here real soon, and it's going to look. And I think that this is what I was looking for. Let me just open this up in a new tab. All right, and share. And here we go. This cartoon by Ben Garrison, dude's always been great cartoonist, and they're all accusing Kerry, Romney, Biden, and Pelosi, haha, we got you, as Trump's the one turning the lights on. And all these people are going to be caught with their hand in the cookie jar. There was just a article that came out today that Nancy Pelosi topped, like, what was her assets at this point now? Like 254 million or something ridiculous like that. And so the amount of money. And so they have been getting their hands caught in their hands will be caught in the cookie jar. And that's going to clean out a lot of these things. And it's going to make it a lot easier to make America great again, because we won't have all these people stealing our money that's supposed to be going back to us that they've been skimming off the top for themselves. Like it's, their own personal VIG or something like that they get to keep, 10% for the big guy or something, as if they're mafiosis or something. No, that's not how it works, but that's okay. President Trump's going to clean that out. Yeah, I'm winning. In song. There we go. 271. I thought, what am I missing?
Yeah. What's 271, Aaron? You got to elaborate.
Yeah,
sir.
please. Please elaborate, sir.
Are you ready?
Yes.
Can you read that, please?
John Fetterman told Joy Behar that Trump should be pardoned in the New York case. It was politically motivated.
Ready?
She's not.
Oh, no.
So, Senator, President Biden's decision to pardon his son Hunter is facing bipartisan backlash. Even the Democrats are all over it. But what do you think? Is this much ado about nothing? It is his son, after all, and people do have sympathy for that. But a lot of people are angry with him about it. What do you say?
Oh, well, I think it's undeniable that the case against Hunter Biden was really politically motivated. But I also think it's true that the trial in New York for Trump that was political as well too. Now it's that, and in both cases, I think a pardon is appropriate. And I really think collectively, America's confidence in these kinds of institutions have been damaged by these kinds of cases. And we cannot allow these kinds of institutions to be weaponized against our political opponents. And it's very clear both trials were politically motivated and weaponized that on the other side.
Thoughts?
So Turbo brought up the point of a pardon means you're guilty. And we know Trump isn't guilty. And because of that, should he receive a pardon? No. But is Fetterman right that these were politically motivated attacks? Yeah, 100%. Why is John Fetterman saying this? Well, we don't know which version of John Fetterman this is, but this is definitely the version of John Fetterman that seems to support Trump as opposed to giving the usual party lines that he used to say once upon a time. Uh, Obviously, Joy wasn't happy about that, but she's kind of a joyless person, anyways, especially when it comes to other people having freedom and abilities that she wants to keep for herself. Mike says Biden will pardon the whole Democrat Party, but it won't last. I agree. He can try to pardon a whole bunch of people away, but I don't think it's going to work because the crimes against humanity, not just the treason, which that's definitely part of it, but anything that they did to try to protect themselves just isn't going to work out. I'm still very curious as to how this is going to play out. I know that people are concerned about all these kinds of things. Like I guess Trump was in Paris today, and there was that concern that there was going to be a missile strike or whatever, but I didn't see any news about any kind of missiles hitting near Trump in Paris. There's a lot of information. It's very fluid, but these are the kinds of things that we can count on without a doubt when it's coming straight from the horse's mouth, and the horse's mouth doesn't match up with what would have been or what should have been, I guess, for lack of a better word. And we're seeing these complete flips again, showing that we're on our way to a big house cleaning. And then some of these people like Fetterman aren't going to be, as I believe that Fetterman's going to have some information that he's going to provide that's going to be of great assistance moving forward in the future. Aaron says, this is the version after he got a new brain. That's the most coherent I have ever seen that guy. Yeah, there's something a little bit different. They fixed Johnny with the brain surgery. Yeah, something. Pardoning them is only for crimes in the USA. Exactly, Jenny. Exactly. And even if he's pardoned in New York, but the federal government choose to pursue those things even more, the federal government in its own laws that it is there to enforce would have its own things. So the pardon, it's a good idea, but I don't think it's going to be necessary.
Doesn't include Ukraine.
No, it doesn't include Ukraine. There's a bunch of things going on. Maybe Biden will give me a pardon too. Just pardons for everybody for everything they've ever done.
Exactly.
Yeah, think bigger, worldly. Oh yeah. Oh, the world. It is. Okay, I'm glad you brought that up because I do believe that there's going to be something that's going to be very different than what we think. Is our justice system going to be very much a part of this? Yes, but I believe that there's going to be some global aspects to this as well, just like the Nuremberg trials. And we're expecting a Nuremberg 2.0 because of all the lies. As we're hearing, more information came out today about how everything about the jab that they were forcing on everybody, about how that was not anything that resembles medicine in any way, form, fashion, or another. So these are international crimes. These are crimes against humanity. And these are the kinds of things where I can easily see President Trump, hey, okay, well, he's pardoned here, but you know what? Over there in The Hague, y'all can have at it. And again, there's many ways to circumvent the crap that we've been, the attempts that they're making to try to protect themselves. Because if they were to remain in power and they had the full might and force and backing of whoever the president was to maintain these, they would tell The Hague to, pack sand. President Trump ain't going to do that. He's going to send him over.
Exactly.
Mike says, I need one to go back 42 years. Well, just ask, just send a letter into the prez. He might do it for you.
Exactly. So let's listen to Cash.
All right.
You ready?
Yes.
8 years ago, the deep state was real. When Donald Trump came down the escalator in 2015 in Trump Tower, the deep state was already moving at 100 miles an hour. But the deep state, projected on us that we were the neocons, we were the conspiracy theorists because we dared to call them the deep state. And when we fast forward 8 years later, they have multiplied. They have put their army on the ground in government agencies and departments, from the DOD to the FBI to the DOJ. They have weaponized justice. They have politicized the intelligence community. They have seized our Department of Defense from the men and women who have the audacity to serve and wear the cloth of this country, and they have tarnished their reputations. And they have led to disasters in Afghanistan, in Ukraine, in Israel, and elsewhere. But they blame us.
Thoughts?
Again, where was he at? I didn't really see it. It looked like he was at some kind of
CPAC.
CPAC. Okay, so the typical tactics of the swamp creatures. You know, they're going to accuse anybody who's doing the right thing of the crap that they're doing. Right? Okay, easy peasy. But they may have increased in numbers, I think is what I heard him say, but that doesn't mean that the quality of their candidates that they have doing this crap is any better, because the leadership that they have, and I'm just going to throw some names out there, may or may not be connected, but like, let's say Fannie Willis, right? She's obviously a big shot for the swamp, going after President Trump with absolutely nothing. She's not anything that anybody would accuse her of being a genius. And when you don't have geniuses in charge, a lot of the time their pride and their ego will prevent them from getting people who are smarter than them to continue on their corrupt ways. That's the beautiful thing about corrupt people, is they're stupid in so many ways, as well as they are evil. And so, yeah, they may be getting some more people, but I'm going to say that so many people see how pitiful they really are, and they recognize that life is so much more than, money, bitches, and hoes, whatever, the rap world, tells us. People don't think that the Diddy lifestyle is awesome. And now they see what the Diddy lifestyle comes with. So, yeah, they're not getting quality candidates to take anything over anytime soon. Exactly. Colleen says Biden's ultimate revenge would be to pardon Trump. That would be hilarious. I would love to see that, Colleen.
Yeah, that would be amazing. So we got Italian Princess. You got to read.
Awesome. Okay. It's here.
Golden. Sweetheart, are we offending you?
Just in. Senator Cornyn says Kash Patel has enough votes to be confirmed the next FBI director. Let the games begin.
Thoughts?
So, the games will commence shortly, around January 20th, right on the dot, as soon as the swearing in is done. I know that one's, I know that one's going to create a lot of waves, and it's going to upset a lot of people. But they already know, like has been said, he's already got the votes. They can't stop Kash. And we know it's already been made perfectly clear by Kash himself. He's gonna shut that thing down, and he's gonna turn it into a museum of the corruption that stole our nation from us. And that is going to be one of the greatest things that I think that we can see. Are they all going to be unemployed? No, not at all, because there's tons of great people in the FBI still to this day. Kash is just going to, well, he probably already knows, but he's certainly going to find out, who's the good and who's the bad. He's going to separate the wheat from the chaff, and he's going to get rid of that chaff.
Mm-hmm. Are you ready?
Mm-hmm.
Listen to this.
Kindness isn't conditional, it's a command. When we talk about receipts and fruits of the Spirit, and some of us think that it's a personality trait. Oh, they're just a kind person. No. This is something that is produced by the Holy Spirit. And I just need to say that as a point. Kind isn't a personality type. It's a principle of the kingdom. So if you profess to love God and you are not kind, you are a fraud. I'm going to say it real. Well, I just want to be direct with people. If God was as direct with you as you are with people, would he be considered a kind and merciful God? Well, they just need to know. Hold on, wait a minute. But there's everything can be done wrapped. Well, they need to feel the sting of this. Did you feel the sting of sin? I'm just trying to figure out, are we playing with different metrics here? What I'm saying is, if you're a Christian, you are supposed to be kind.
It's there. What? Why is it not working? It's unmuted. Hold on. Test, test, test. No, why is that not working? What on earth did you do? See, I hear you making noise now.
Hello.
Test,
Okay.
test.
Thoughts.
Ah, there we go. See, look at us.
I know.
Huh. Maybe if we had Operation Mockingbird money, it'd look a lot better. Thanks, government.
Right.
Giving it to the illegals, assholes. Anyways, I guess I need to be kind now after that little video there. So let me be kind. See, being kind can be difficult at moments, especially when things could be different when other people weren't being kind. But it's absolutely necessary for us because we can't repay evil with evil. It's not going to fix the situation. We most assuredly have to be kind. And it's that very kindness that's going to create that change that we've so desperately needed in this world. We've had a lack of kindness in the world, but even towards each other as fellow Americans or even next door neighbors. Everybody's upset because everything's out of whack. But we still have to find that kindness, even though things aren't the way they should be. It's that kindness that will help bring about the ability to live and make the world the way it should be. So it's incumbent upon each and every one of us to make sure we're doing our Christian duty to be kind, because there's nothing written in the Bible that speaks against kindness. So we should be kind.
Absolutely. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Okay, let's listen.
All right.
Breaking news, TikTok will be banned in the United States on January 19th. So says the Federal Appeals Court in Washington, D.C. The 3-judge panel issued their ruling on TikTok's case just moments ago in this 92-page order. The judges ruled the Protecting Americans from Foreign Adversary Controlled Applications Act does not violate the First Amendment rights of TikTok or its users. The judges said they realize 170 million Americans use the platform every day, and this ruling could take away a place for them to express their free speech and take away, in some cases, their ability to make money. But the court said Congress knew all that and passed the bill anyway. The court wrote, Congress judged it necessary to assume that risk given the grave national security threats it perceived. And because the record reflects that Congress's decision was considered consistent with longstanding regulatory practice and devoid of an institutional aim to suppress particular messages or ideas, we are not in a position to set it aside. That means the ban is going to move forward. So what's next? Well, likely TikTok will file an emergency appeal to the United States Supreme Court. And there are two options there. Either the court can take this case on an emergency basis, or they can choose not to take the case. They are not required to hear it. Now, if the justices choose not to take the case, this ruling will stand and it's over. If the Supreme Court does decide to take the case, then it is possible that they will put the ban on pause while the case plays out. This is literally happening right now, and I'm going to dig further into that 92-page ruling, and I'll have more throughout the day.
Okay, before I got one more video, so let's listen.
All right, let's do that.
TikTok is not backing down. They're headed to the United States Supreme Court to try and stop the ban that's scheduled to take effect on January 19th. Moments ago, TikTok issued this statement shading the law that bans the platform, saying the TikTok ban was conceived and pushed through based upon inaccurate, flawed, and hypothetical information, resulting in outright censorship of the American people. TikTok has maintained that not only is this law a violation of the First Amendment rights of the company, but this law is also a major violation of the First Amendment rights of the 170 million American users. TikTok went on to say they plan to take their case directly to the Supreme Court. And based on the court's history, TikTok fully believes that they will prevail. The Supreme Court has an established historical record of protecting Americans' right to free speech, and we expect they will do just that on this important constitutional issue. We're going to come back to that constitutional issue wording in a second. But as I reported earlier today, once they receive this appeal, the Supreme Court has two options. Option one, don't take the case and just let the DC Court of Appeals ruling stand. The justices are not obligated to take this case or any case. In fact, the Supreme Court receives thousands of appeals every single year and only takes about 80 cases per term. So for most cases, getting a Supreme Court hearing is a long shot. Now, if the justices decide not to hear this case, it's over. And option two is for the Supreme Court to agree to hear this case on an emergency basis. This is a very possible option. If the court chooses to go this route, they will likely put a temporary pause on the January 19th ban of TikTok. That pause would then remain in effect until the justices make a ruling in this case. In the meantime, they'll schedule oral arguments for some point this term or maybe even next term. So how do the justices decide which cases to take? Well, sometimes they take cases because lower courts have issued conflicting rulings, so the Supreme Court would settle those disputes. That doesn't apply in this case. But they can also choose to take a case because it poses an important constitutional question or questions. And that does apply to this case. And that's likely why TikTok specifically said in their statement that this case deals with important constitutional issues. Now, this is a very high profile case that involves the First and Fifth Amendments, possibly congressional overreach, and national security concerns. So the next step is for TikTok to actually file its appeal. That appeal will go to Chief Justice John Roberts because he oversees the DC Court of Appeals, which upheld this ban today. Then the justices will meet, as they do periodically, to discuss all the cases in front of them and all the emergency appeals that are pending. And after that discussion, they vote on which cases they are going to hear. It takes 4 of the 9 justices to accept a case. No one ever knows why the justices decide not to hear a case. They never disclose that. So once TikTok files its official appeal, we'll have to see if the justices decide to take the case.
Thoughts?
All right, lots of information there about the TikTok ban. So I agree with you, Jenny. I'm along the same lines. I don't think it'll happen. And then Chachi said maybe allowing this case to play out is another way to drain the federal cash reserves using TikTok or the TikTok to corporation as the weapon. Also helps expose the Biden administration even more. 100%. I agree with you 100%. It is this lawfare. That lawfare sword cuts both ways, and they've been using lawfare this whole time. The thing is as they're having to spend money on these kinds of lawsuits, they're not going to have the money to persist with like the frivolous lawsuits that they were filing against President Trump, trying to make him look like he was a criminal this entire time. And then once it comes down to brass tacks and he's about to be president, they withdraw all of it because it's about the weakest kind of cases that could be brought against pretty much anybody, let alone a former president of the United States, to prevent them from running for office again. And then that's going to play a very big part because 172 million people are on TikTok. That's a lot of people. And yeah, in the United States, that's a big number, and that's suppressing a lot. And so now we have to start defining what is a national security threat when half of the nation is on it. Are there other nation states that could use these platforms to cause a lot of problems? Oh, yeah. And we know that TikTok has been very much a problem with that because they have been pushing all of the morally corrupt crap on everybody's feed, whereas in China, they get all those feeds where everybody's being a good member of society, what we would call a good citizen, where they have good slaves or whatever they have over there in China,
Yeah.
subjects, whatever. Subjects. And so we know that China has the ability, or that TikTok has the ability to massage people's feed. And so instead of trying to destroy our nation, yes, I will say that that is a national security threat, but that's something that can be done through coding or other things other than just absolute silencing half of America, over half of the United States, right? And I'm going to say an overwhelming majority of the adult population here in the United States. The law was vague, which that is a problem. And that might be a direction that the lawsuits could go. We know that TikTok isn't going to go ahead and take it, in the shorts, just willy-nilly, just whatever. Go ahead, give us your best shot and, we'll bow out. That's not what's going to happen. We knew this. TikTok is going to go ahead and fight for its own existence, but this is going to create that conversation moving forward. And I'm going to say that it goes a lot towards the direction of the way the federal government was being abused to silence opposing perspectives. See, what they were calling, threats to the country weren't actually threats to the country, because the people that were a threat to the country were the people that were in control of the narrative. These are the things that have to come out. This will be a boomerang. This will come back and bite them in the ass. It's just going to take months and months to play out. And worst case scenario, they were told to sell TikTok, and if the lawsuit doesn't go back to court and there's a pause put on it, they can't sell it in one day. And then what is within the capability of President Trump to block any of the kinds of corrupt things that they're going to do with TikTok? Also, another thing I think today was there was an answer about the 10 days. Where was that? Okay. Q Post 282, December 6th, 2017. And it said, I have a question for the 10 days. Darkness, when? And then Q says, shut down. And so could it be that everything else is fine except for our main sources of communication? Could it be that TikTok gets shut down along with other major platforms where people communicate? I have no idea, but I know that these are things that have gotten these people in a world hurt up to this point in time, and that is the ability of the people to communicate. That's why they're trying to silence all of us.
Exactly.
Yeah, suck on it, Trebek. Good socialism credit scores. Yeah, all the credit scores are BS. Hey, Chops, thanks for joining, man.
You ready?
Yes.
Watch this.
All right.
We're not doing this. Who told you to do that? How many sons do you have? Do you have a petting zoo at the moment, or do you plan on having one here in the future? I need to talk to you for a minute. I need to talk to whoever told you to build that big ass fucking boat, is what I need to do. You better call somebody that knows somebody, because if we need to know.
Thoughts?
Yeah, when times look as they do right now, and somebody starts building a giant boat, I'm going to say that we should all take pause for thought and really reconsider what we see in the world around us when people are making giant ass boats by themselves, maybe with their kids, who knows? But yeah, I definitely want an answer that Taco Reacts was looking for there, and that is does he have a petting zoo, or is there a petting zoo in his near future that he's been planning on? Just simple questions. Thanks.
Yeah, need to know.
Friend, yeah,
Asking
for a friend. Thank you.
That friend is me.
Aaron says, you were saying the Chinese push their good citizens on TikTok, the ones with good socialism credit scores. Yeah, yes. I know, but it doesn't mean that that's not predictive programming, as opposed to the rappers delight, money, bitches, hoes, drugs, all that other crap.
Exactly.
If we had healthier feeds, it would make a big difference. That will probably be also another thing that we hear about is the violence on our video games and the TV and the sexual and all of the 7 deadly sins. There's going to be a lot of conversations here soon.
Yep. You ready?
Mm-hmm.
Let's listen.
What is the Jerusalem cross, and why are people now talking about it? The cross provoked debate as it was seen tattooed on the body of future US Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth. The cross is famously associated with the Christian Crusades in the Holy Land. Its exact origin and use is debated. Some associate it with Godfrey of Bouillon, the man who captured Jerusalem in 1099. The cross is best known as the coat of arms attributed to the Crusader Kingdom of Jerusalem, which would last in the Holy Land for around 200 years, and would feature iconic rulers like the leper King Baldwin IV. The symbol itself has powerful religious meaning, with the 4 crosses around the main one considered to represent the 4 Gospels: Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, whilst others think the 4 small crosses and 1 big one represent the 5 wounds on Christ's body at the time of the crucifixion. The cross would remain a prominent symbol of Christian iconography to this very day, being widely used in art, jewelry, and even tattoos, with it even being reported that none other than the British King Edward VII received the tattoo on a trip to Jerusalem whilst he was Prince of Wales.
Thoughts?
I'm curious as to what y'all think about that. If y'all have any inspirations or thoughts about the Jerusalem cross, be it on Pete Hegseth's chest or just any thoughts in general. I know that there's a lot of conspiracy being brought up because he probably has that tattoo and they're trying to lay the groundwork for, he's Illuminati and this and that and the other thing. See, the thing is I know that there's groups out there that claim some kind of loyalty to God and the whole Jerusalem, like the Bible, right? And so that's going to be one of those, if he's part of any of those organizations, it could certainly make people ask a lot of questions. And I think that that's the confusion that they're trying to bring, because I do believe that there, just as there are swampy organizations, I believe that there's organizations that we would consider good, that obviously the swamp would consider bad. Whether or not people are a part of organizations, really, it doesn't bother me much. I want to see the fruits of their labor. And so I think that it doesn't bother me because I recognize the character of that man, as opposed to any organizations that I really, in the end, don't know anything about because, well, I'm not a part of it.
Yeah. So.
Chachi says, I wear a Jerusalem cross silver ring. I have no idea why that was difficult to say. Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers.
There you go.
Peck of pickled peppers Peter Piper picked. How much wood would a woodchuck chuck if a woodchuck could chuck wood? All right, let me try that again. I wear a Jerusalem cross silver ring. See, hey, look, woo. Anyways, Aaron says, Chachi keeps the vampires and the werewolves away. If that does that, then I need to be getting that tattooed and ring and all sorts of stuff myself.
There you go. Are you ready?
Yes.
Let's listen.
Right now, Vice President-elect J.D. Vance is in Western North Carolina. He is there to tour storm damage. This is weeks and weeks after Hurricane Helene ripped through that part of the South, causing devastation. Right now, Vance is meeting with first responders, specifically volunteer firefighters in the town of Fairview, North Carolina. He's also joined by his wife on this special trip. Fairview, just for people who know the area or don't, is right outside of Asheville, North Carolina. It's a small community in Buncombe County. It is a little bit kind of southeast of Asheville, North Carolina. But the people of Western North Carolina, many of them have still been living in tents.
Back to working and lurking. Only a couple more hours tonight. All right. Well, be safe out there, Mike.
Yes. Thoughts?
So, like, the VP elect is already going there to make assessments, and he's not even the VP yet, and he managed to get there based off of his, like, I guess, election as the vice president elect, but not vice president yet. He's already been more proactive about caring about the people who have been ravaged by this act of God, right? And Kamala Harris, how long did it take her? I know that President Trump was talking about, how much she was ignoring all of that. Did Joe Biden ever show up?
No.
Again, we're already starting to see the comparison and contrast. These are things that need to be pointed out. How long did it take our VP elect to get out there after he was elected as the VP, but before he became the vice president, versus how long did it take the actual vice president to show up after the hurricane?
Mm-hmm.
These are things that people who are asleep might not be able to put one and one together to make two, even though they're practically touching each other and making the Roman numeral 2. Sometimes we still got to point this stuff out. So, yeah, maybe just point it out to some people. Yeah, see, the VP elect already made it out to North Carolina.
Yeah.
Already making North Carolina greater again. Can't wait till it hits the rest of the country. Esto, hey, Esto, thanks for joining.
Lurking again tonight.
Lurking again tonight.
That's okay. Lurk
That's
away.
all right. Lurk away. Just make sure y'all are hitting that thumbs up, heart, or pill.
You
Appreciate
ready?
it. Or the other buttons. Push buttons. Thank you.
You ready?
Yeah.
To celebrate the new year, we're having the biggest sale ever on overstock clearance and brand new products. For example, save 60% on our Goose Down comforters, the best comforters ever. They go perfectly with our MyPillow bed sheets and duvet covers. Save 25% on our brand new kitchen towels. They're made with the same technology as our famous My Towels. Our initial quantities are extremely low, so get them now before they go. Our seasonal flannel sheets are finally in. You save up to 50% and they sell out fast every year, so order now. They're truly the best flannel sheets you'll ever sleep on. Or save up to 80% on all our clearance items. And this is where it gets even better. For a limited time, your entire order ships absolutely free. So go to mypillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use that promo code to get deep discounts on all MyPillow products. And for a limited time, your order ships absolutely free.
Absolutely free.
Thoughts?
Thoughts? What thoughts do I? Okay, My Pillow. As y'all know, we love our My Pillow products. I will say a little bit further down the road, the duvet. We are a desert people and we live in a desert, and we haven't quite got to the point where it's warm or cold enough outside that we can put the duvet on. So I can tell you that the duvet that he's selling is absolutely wonderful and very toasty and very comfy. It's a great, it's awesome. The towels, y'all know that we love the towels. Been using the My Pillow 2.0. I compared and contrasted it with one of those fancy pillows with the little hole in the middle and, you know, all sorts of wings and crap everywhere, so that way it's easier for you. And I'm already back to the My Pillow 2.0 because I haven't found anything that's quite there yet. Is there a miraculous pillow out there? Not beyond the powers of what the My Pillow 2.0 can do. So if y'all are in the market for anything that Mr. Lindell has over there, great solid American patriot, and putting his life, his fortune, and his sacred honor in the line for this nation. So I'm all about supporting people like that. So if you're in the market for it, please make sure you check out mypillow.com/DTOO. Helps us out, and without a doubt, helps out the patriots who are running businesses that are helping the wheels of this economy continue to move in this time.
Mm-hmm. Hey, Wendy.
Hey, Wendy.
We're glad you got some
Fell
sleep.
asleep. Yeah, glad you got some rest. Sleeping hard. That's a good thing.
That's a good thing.
Sounds like it's a good time for the weekend.
And Aaron loves his new blanket that he got.
Nice. Yeah, their blankets are good too. Their
Yeah.
blankets, the sheets, the towels, the hand towels,
Yeah.
whatever. Check it out. I really don't think you can go wrong.
Yeah. You ready?
Mm-hmm.
Let's listen to Craig.
Yeah, all right. Awesome.
Do not gripe about what your spouse is not. You become who God wants you to become. Let me say it again. Do not gripe about what your spouse is not. You become who God wants you to become. You want something different, be it. Want something different, be it. Want something different, be it.
Thoughts?
The power of life and death is within the tongue. And we must be careful about the things that we say. I can tell you, Kay and I, you know, we're still humans and we're still a married couple. And I'm a guy and she's a crazy woman. And that's how things work out and everything. But, you know, I have to be patient and kind with her because, you know, the extra eighth of a chromosome kind of messes everything up. And it makes it difficult for me and men in general to be able to understand your kind. But when we are frustrated by these frustrating things, this mysterious way that women have, we have to be understanding, and we can't speak these things that we don't want about our spouse. We have to make sure that we're speaking these things that we do want about our spouse, that she's loving and beautiful and kind and cares about me and all these other things, as opposed to all the things that I don't like. And that's something that we can apply not only in our marriages, but everywhere else in life. So we have to be careful and really consider the words before, you know, that filter between here and this piece. It's, you know, I know that my filter got kind of worn out, but I still have to, you know, kind of really think about things. And this is something that's truly important in life, because how many times have we said something? I'm not talking about how much your phone's listening to you. I get it. You know, you say something, then all of a sudden Google has some advertisements for you. No, what I'm talking about is when we speak these things into existence, do we or do we not see those? And when we speak these out to God and the universe, they're going, okay, this is what you want. I don't know why you want that, but all right, here you go. So yeah, make sure we're being taking consideration of what we say before it comes out of our mouth. Steph says, and that tongue is sharper than any two-edged sword. Yes, ma'am.
Yep.
Yes, ma'am. Jenny says, we're only crazy because you guys make us that way. Sell it however you want, Jenny.
Yeah. You see the crazy weather in Florida?
Was freezing earlier this week, went back up to the 80s for a day, and now it's freezing again. Oh, man, that's crazy.
Yeah. Exactly. Preach, Jenny. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Let's listen.
The unintended consequence of giving a pardon to Hunter Biden is he can no longer plead the Fifth Amendment. It's a point I made yesterday on the show, seconded by Senator Tom Cotton, another Harvard Law School graduate from Arkansas. Here is Senator Cotton.
I will say this, though. Joe Biden may come to regret this decision because having given his son a blanket pardon of 11 years to include time when Joe Biden was vice president, Hunter Biden now can't plead the fifth if he appears before Congress or appears before a grand jury. He has to testify about exactly what he was up to, for instance, when he was traveling to China on Air Force Two and meeting with Chinese communist princelings, or why he was being paid hundreds of thousands of dollars to sit on a Ukrainian energy company's board for which he had no qualifications. So that may be one unintended consequence of this pardon that Joe Biden didn't fully think through.
Okay, that is absolutely true. The unintended
thoughts. All right. Well, Jenny said it earlier, and I think we even said it yesterday, or somebody. We were talking about it yesterday as well, about the whole the presidential pardon means that he can't say I plead the fifth anymore. How great is that? Boy, that's a gift, isn't it? And again, like what was being said earlier, it's not going to protect them from Brussels, the Nuremberg trials, the Hague, the International Court in the Hague. Yeah, they're not protected from that. But I also think that once the fraud is proven that the election was stolen, this was another thing we talked about last night. Once the election fraud is proven, that takes away, fraud vitiates everything, which means that they can take the pardon away just like that. Really simple. There's a lot of options for the truth to still come out. Just because they're playing the games doesn't mean that the games that they're playing are going to actually work. Jenny says, he says women are crazy because men are stupid. Who said that? Oh, George Carlin. Well, yeah, I can see that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sort of. I mean, but yeah, well, whatever. I'm going to keep my mouth shut.
You ready?
Yeah.
Can you read that, please?
Very much so. In case you missed it, Arkansas is forcing a Chinese state-owned company to divest its land in America.
You ready?
America great again.
Let's go.
Mm-hmm.
I'm announcing that Syngenta, a Chinese state-owned agrochemical company, must give up its land holdings in Arkansas. Syngenta owns 160 acres in northeast Arkansas, which it uses primarily for seed research. The company that owns Syngenta, Chem China, is also on the Department of Defense's list of Chinese military companies posing a clear threat to our state. Seeds are technology. Chinese state-owned corporations filter that technology back to their homeland, stealing American research and telling our enemies how to target American farms. That is a clear threat to our national security and to our great farmers.
Thoughts?
There's been a lot of information. I even saw some posts and was talking some trash on Twitter earlier today about this very issue. See, the thing is Americans aren't very happy about the fact that China's been buying our land. But it doesn't count when they bought our senators and congressmen first. So I have an interesting story that I'd like to relay that I think all of y'all will have at least a little bit of understanding. How many of y'all remember the Bundy Ranch incident out here in Nevada, where they came to seize that ranch and everything that was there because he was using public lands to feed his cows, in which case he had a BLM land lease that was there for years and decades, if I'm not mistaken. And then they came in and they decided they wanted that land back. And then there were a whole bunch of very pissed off patriots who went out there to the Bundy Ranch out here in Nevada. And then it was, at the time, Sheriff Lombardo, if I'm not mistaken. It was that told the federal government, hey, it's getting kind of stupid around here. Y'all should leave. And I'm the sheriff. And then it all kind of simmered down. And then the Bundys ended up doing their own thing. But here's the interesting tidbit about that. That land that he was feeding his cattle on ended up getting sold to China. They made a great deal with the former Senate Majority Leader, that guy, Harry Reid. Yeah, they made a deal with Harry Reid so that way they could put solar panels on that land. So that way they could sell us the electricity that China was like gifted that land by the Senate Majority Leader. See, these are the kinds of things where, yeah, China, you won at that time, but you know what? It was a shady deal, and you know it, because if we tried that shit in your country, you'd be executing all sorts of people. So why don't you go ahead and give that land back to us, and we'll call it good. We'll say you got us that time, and then we'll just move forward in peace and love in the future, because that was a bullshit move, China. That was a bullshit move for each one of those countries, not just China, that have been out here buying our land, because that land's taken away from us. And when we have homeless people, there shouldn't be anybody that is not an entirely a United States citizen. That there shouldn't be a single citizen that is homeless if there's another nation that owns land here in our country. I just don't see how that even makes any sense. So go do your things over there. Thank you for installing that solar farm out there. We'll probably have to tear it down because it was made by a bunch of Chinese child labor slaves, and it's going to fall apart in the next 5 or 10 years. So really, you gave us a problem. So if it becomes a biohazard, I hope that you don't mind accepting those biohazards that you brought over here back to your nation, because America first.
Exactly. You ready?
Mm-hmm.
Can you read that, please?
Woke reporter gets science lesson from regenerative farmer.
Ready?
Mm-hmm.
Taking a lot of water. They use 10 bathtubs full of water. Their cow burps, their cow farts, all the carbon that's put into the air, and that they take a lot of land.
When we manage cattle with regenerative agriculture, they're actually the single best way to sequester carbon from the atmosphere into the soil, because by grazing off our plants and bringing the animals in, we're managing a solar panel. Our grass is a solar panel. It needs to be green and growing so it can capture sunlight and pull carbon from the air and put it into its roots. But those plants will stop doing that if they get too tall or if they get too short. And so what we do with our cows is they come in, they graze those plants off, so they reset it, they prune that solar panel so it doesn't get too tall, and then they leave and it rests. And that graze, rest, recovery is actually a cycle of pulling carbon from the air into the plant roots. And then when those plants get grazed, they actually release that carbon into the soil, and in turn pick up water and other minerals from soil microbiological activity, because our soils are living and alive instead of dead and sterilized. And so that cycle actually builds health, and year after year we're pulling more carbon from the atmosphere, putting it into our soil, which then produces more healthy soil, which then produces more grass, which then allows us to graze and produce more cattle. 70% of the Earth's land is land that is not suitable for tillage, which is to say it's inarable. It's just grassland, and you can't do anything else with it. And so if you just say, well, we're not going to do cattle anymore, any grazing livestock, you completely given up the ability to produce food on that acreage, and you've lost your single best tool to actually restore that land. There are groups out there that have done these same principles in the desert and transformed completely desert landscapes into something that looks like just beautiful and lush. It's incredible. Cattle can be a tool to heal that. And in terms of water and addressing that, they do drink a lot of water. However, they're drinking that water and then they're spreading it out on the fields as they graze. That water then filters down through the healthy soil and returns to those same aquifers. And it actually is a system that helps increase soil life and activity, because the cows, by drinking that water and then spreading that water on the fields, are actually like continually watering the fields, and they're not as reliant on rainwater. And so that cycle actually builds health and builds ecology deep into the soil, and there's no net loss of water in that system because it's a closed system as they're grazing and moving along. Even methane, people say, well, they burp and they release methane and it's greenhouse gas. Here in the last few years has actually discovered that if you take a field that's been regeneratively grazed with cattle for several years, that soil has microbes in it that break down methane. They didn't think there was a microbe that could handle methane. As it turns out, they do. And when they measure the total amount of them, it turns out that the microbes in that soil that support, say, 100 cows are actually capable of breaking down the methane from way more than 100 cows. And it's all how you take care of it in management. They can be a tool of destruction or they can be a tool of life. It really just comes down to how you care for them.
And then with
Thoughts?
You're putting that one in Telegram?
I already did.
All right, awesome. So that one's already in Telegram if any of y'all are interested. Yeah, that's the reporter asked a question and he just shots fired. Yeah, watch out, lady. He's going to show you how it really works. See, this is the thing is the beauty of God's creation is that all of these things were already taken into consideration first, and it doesn't even require us to be there or us to do the maintenance, because It's already been figured out. The microbes are already there. Methane, cow farts, blah, 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 blah. It's all taken care of. We don't have to worry about it. So all of this crap, this bill of goods that they've been selling us about cow farts and how cows are destroying the planet, sounds like all the hot air that we've been getting was coming out of the people on the left, kind of like we already knew in the beginning, and we tried to tell everybody before they started listening to these idiots. Well, maybe they'll start to listen now, and we don't have to worry about cows and their gas anymore. What a time to be alive.
I know. Are you ready?
Mm-hmm.
Can you read that, please?
Trump derangement syndrome sufferer Joyless Reed calls Trump a gangster for demanding Hamas release the hostages. So
Are you ready?
She just never ends.
I know.
But let's bring you back to the U.S. and to our local gangster, Donald Trump. He's not even president yet, and he's already spending his time sitting in his golden palace, Mar-a-Lago, muscling other countries like he's Tony Soprano with a social media site. Doing things like, reportedly, debating whether or not to invade Mexico. Threatening BRICS countries, Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa, with 100% tariffs if they don't commit to trading in dollars and not their own currencies. Demanding Hamas release all hostages being held in Gaza before his inauguration, or there will be, quote, all hell to pay in the Middle East.
Stop. Thoughts?
Oh, she seems kind of mad. Maybe
Yes,
she
she does.
Yeah, maybe
hey,
she.
D, you did.
Hey, D, thanks for joining.
You did pick a stinky point to come in, girl.
Yeah, we're talking about cow farts, Joy Reid, whatever, all this shit going on around here right now. What do we say about her? She's whining because President Trump doesn't want people to get their heads sawn off with a rusty Swiss Army knife. Oh, the humanity. He's such a gangster.
I know.
Actually, the only person that's probably been more gangster than President Trump throughout time was probably King David, would be my guess.
Yes, ma'am. She did call Trump a gangster because he wants hostages released.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wendy doesn't like you anymore.
I love you, Wendy.
Are you ready?
Maybe.
How about some Kelly? You need some Kelly. If you hit that button again, I
Hit what
swear
button?
I'm going to
No,
throw
I
my
wasn't-
scissors
no,
at you.
There.
Are you ready?
Yes.
I got Kelly. Let's listen.
All right, friends, I got another one for you today. Now, yesterday somebody said, I think every scripture blows your mind, dude. And you know what? You're absolutely right. Every single scripture blows my mind. Let me show you another one, all right? Studying today in Luke 5. Now, right out the gate, some of you are going to say, Kelly, different translations use different words. It doesn't mean that. I know that. Do you think God is so small to think that he didn't put certain words in certain translations so that certain translation can teach you certain things that other ones can't? That's the God we serve. He's so good. So with that in mind, let me show you Luke 5 in the New King James Version. All right, Luke 5, starting in verse 4. When he had stopped speaking, he said to Simon, launch out into the deep and let down your nets for a catch. Notice the word nets there. Now pay attention to what's happening here. Jesus is preaching. He's borrowing Simon's boat. They've been out fishing and caught nothing. But now Jesus tells him, hey, I got a blessing for you. I got something amazing for you. I want you to take your nets, plural, more than one, out and go fish again because I have a blessing for you. You catching it? You see, the truth is God has blessings for you. He says that you are his children. He has good gifts for his children. Amen. But understand, just like my kids, when they obey me, they get certain gifts. They get certain privileges. I take care of them, right? Now, listen, when they disobey, does that mean I'm not going to bless them? I don't love them? No, I still am. But there's a difference when my children obey me versus when they disobey. You feeling me? Now watch this. In verse 5, but Simon answered and said to him, Master, we have toiled all night and caught nothing. Nevertheless, at your word, I will let down the what? Net. Let down the net. Did Jesus say anything about one net? Nope. He said, go let your nets down. Nets, please understand. 99.9% obedience is still 100% disobedience. Come on, listen to me. Jesus told him, go let your nets down. Peter said, man, I believe you, I guess, but I don't believe you that much. So I'm going to take one net just to see one net. Jesus didn't say take one. He said take them all. Let's keep going. And when they had done this, they caught a great number of fish, and their what? Net was breaking. You catch that? Their singular one net was breaking. Why? Because one net wouldn't hold the entire blessing that God had planned for them. And because they didn't obey to completion, they did not receive the full blessing that was promised to them. We do the exact same thing all the time. Listen, if you follow the story, the other fishermen had to come and bring their boats and their nets and help get the fish. Listen, other people got the blessing that was intended for them. So many of us are sharing our blessing with other people. Well, there's nothing wrong with sharing your blessing, but understand, God had intended it for you. But because you couldn't obey fully, because you didn't put your full trust and faith into what Jesus has told you, whatever he asked you to do, listen, the blessing, the favor, the promise is attached to it, but it has to come with 100% obedience. Listen, we need to obey without delay, and we need to obey to completion. Just like Peter had to share his blessing that he never had intended to share. Jesus intended that all to be his. And listen, I know different translations are going to use different words. It doesn't matter. Don't miss the lesson in what we're getting from the New King James today out of this. When Jesus says, take your nets out, obey fully and take your nets. Don't say, I'll take one to test you out. No. If you said it, that's the best plan for my life. Listen, there's no better plan for you than the plan that Jesus has. He's seen the beginning from the end. He knows you better than you know you. Trust him today. Amen. Think about that for a minute. Hey, if this blessed you today.
Thoughts?
Kelly K Ministries. Man, Kelly's awesome. Always like enlightening in so many ways. Military speak, instant obedience to orders. You'd think it'd be easier for me because it was a way of life. You know, when you hear something, you react on it as soon as you can, immediately, basically. And when we get inspired by something that we believe that he's telling us, provided it's along the lines of what, it's congruent with everything in the Bible, with the love and peace and all that, we need to instantly make sure that we're doing that we're doing that right away. And I never thought about it like he said tonight. And that is that, well, if you don't do it, somebody else can get that blessing. And why would we deny ourselves that very blessing? If you're inspired to do something for humanity because you feel that you were communicated to through intuition or whatever to make the world a better place in something that you were communicated to by God. I know I'm kind of fumbling on my words here. But anyways, if you feel that communication is from your creator, then by all means, what would be stopping you? See, if we have the opportunity to make the world a better place, we should jump on that opportunity every chance we can. Look at the world around us. It's not a friendly or kind place. And if we can just create that little bit of beauty in the world around us, it can have that butterfly effect where it can spread exponentially. And we might not even know that it had anything to do with something that you were inspired to do. So make sure that when you are inspired, that you are following through with that. Because one, you were asked to do it, and two, why would you want to give away blessings other than, like giving blessings? But if it was supposed to be for you, why not take it for yourself?
Exactly. Are you ready?
Yes, ma'am.
I don't know if you are, but can you read this, please?
All right. Homosexual liberal calls for more assassinations after CEO Brian Thompson was murdered. Yeah, I know people
are you ready?
Yeah.
So the CEO of the multi-billion-dollar United Healthcare Insurance Company was shot and killed this morning in New York City. And I will say that it is pretty tragic that the shooter was only able to get one of them. But it's a good start. I mean, it's a good foundation. Good. We can only move up from here. And before any of you come at me with, "Oh my God, I can't believe you'd say that," go fuck yourself. Seriously. Go fuck yourselves. How many husbands do you think have had to bury their wives because their wife's cancer treatment was denied? How many parents do you think have had to bury their children because whatever healthcare treatment the child needed was denied, or they had to jump through hoop after hoop after hoop after hoop until finally the treatment, the sickness had progressed so far the treatment just wasn't an option anymore. So yeah, I would say that this is probably a good start.
Thoughts?
Boy, people are pissed off, aren't they? They have absolutely zero sympathy for the fact that somebody lost their lives because they were a worshiper of Mammon. I understand the difficulty in this because these people are indirectly responsible for the deaths of countless human beings that they don't feel that we're humans, so it doesn't matter, because if we were good human beings, we'd be multi-millionaire assholes like these people that don't care about other people dying, and so long as we're making a profit. I can see the argument as to why we shouldn't care about the demise of some of these people, but that's not the way to go forward about this as far as I'm concerned. But I don't blame people for having that on their heart. So it's kind of a weird spot. But I can tell you that many, many people have lost their lives unnecessarily so that other people can have some profit. That's supremely aggravating, and it can be difficult sometimes. And this is when we pray for our enemies, that they get some kind of enlightenment. And they need our prayers right now, because I'm sure each and every one of them is reconsidering all of those board meetings where they said, screw these people, we need more profits because I need that bonus so I can buy that boat or that jet or whatever it is that they want to buy, so they can keep up with these nefarious Joneses everywhere. Yeah. You know, again, you can tell the people that what they're doing is wrong. And this includes multimillionaire asshole insurance, whatever, name it, company, megacorp, right? They just don't get it. And so this is how they are getting their education. And so since you can't tell them, they will be shown. I pray that they wake up and recognize that they have made everybody miserable for their own pleasure and enjoyment. And that might have a tendency to piss off the billions of people around the planet. And there's so few of them, and their executive protection might not be able to deal with 250 million people who don't like them. See, they have to feel this first before they can even recognize that they have to change. I just pray and I hope that they're able to change before any more of that happens.
Yeah.
Jenny says, murder is murder, no matter how you look at it. I know. I'm not going to disagree with you. Steph says, yes, everybody, I need prayers for my brother's wife. She had an emergency surgery just a little while ago, bowel obstruction, and she's not in a good way at all. She's deep in the deep woods right now.
We will be praying.
We will be praying. Chacha says, karma hits hard, not only one, the CEO, but even perhaps even on the liberals who are spouting off on the internet. Yeah. The education, because they have been in a position of power that they have abused and have minimized, diminished, silenced, and beat down physically, financially, mentally. They've been doing this to people for how long now? Well, they don't know what it's like to have to live on this side when they don't have power and people are telling them, shut up. You've ruined everything and we don't want to hear from you ever again. Be thankful that you're allowed to continue to inhale and exhale. But until then, we don't want to hear from you, because that's how they treated us. You know, oh, I don't want to take your gene therapy experiment. Oh, you don't have a right to live. Yeah, that's, big medicine again. Yeah, a lot of it follows around them. But how else are all of us supposed to learn if we don't recognize what we don't like and then be forced to come together and come up with an actual solution?
Absolutely. Absolutely. It didn't come over, but Chachi also said it's a cycle.
It is a cycle.
It is a cycle.
It is a cycle. Yeah, the pendulum will always go back and forth.
It's gonna swing.
Mhm.
Are you ready?
Mhm.
Can you read that, please?
Video circulating of knockoff face masks are creepy after the United Healthcare CEO assassination.
Ready?
Oh, yeah.
Conquistando cualquiera es como tú. Cálmate que al rato se hace. Dando la vuelta me pongo un pase. Hago lo que sea, porque hago lo que sea. Tú no tienes mi competencia.
Ay, ay, linda, tú eres la buena, tú eres mi perdición. Ay, ay, linda, eres mi droga y eres mi perdición.
Well, ain't that interesting? You don't even need some super fancy rubber face mask that Hollywood does. Apparently, you just need a head sock that has a face printed on it. It's interesting. Also, could cause a lot of problems with facial recognition software moving forward in the future. Have a feeling that that was created specifically to defeat that, the facial recognition software. Yeah, curious how that one's going to play out, but it certainly can be used for all sorts of nefarious things. So great. Now we have one more thing to look out for, whereas we're out on the streets, people with a stocking that has a face painted on it and out in public. Wow, yeah, that is freaky, Jenny. I want the mask with Pepe's face.
Yeah.
That'd be cool. Yeah, I'd support that one.
You ready?
Mm-hmm.
Can you read that?
Comedian Whitney Cummings gets more than she expected after asking audience member about 9/11.
There you go.
Who do you think did 9/11?
Us.
So why did America do it?
To finish the first one shot.
Where'd you read this? Where's
I served 11 years.
you have big served in the military energy. I have not seen a man's wallet on the table in so long. Look at this wallet. I have not seen. Someone tell him about Apple Pay. Wait, what? Where in the military were you? How was that? Yeah, I want the full conspiracy. Let's go.
I was at the VA a year and a half after an operation that we went to. Breaking news, the operation that we did a year and a half ago popped up on the news. I immediately went to go check, and I'm like, is this modern? And they said, yes. And I said, no, it's not. I need to go talk to mental health because I was there when that happened.
Oh, so you go and say, like, what's on the news isn't true.
Yes.
Am I going crazy?
Yeah, and it broke my whole reality.
I don't want to even know this. I feel like we're all he cannot stop drinking. I think he's telling the truth. Why did you just drag us into this nightmare? Is the Bermuda Triangle real?
Yes, but it's because of a series of wins, not anything else.
Nerd alert.
Thoughts?
Well, isn't that interesting? How many people have been woken by the comedians, and how many of the comedians have been on the front line of this fight of the truth? It's been one of the greater things to see, because the comedians were very much a part of keeping people silenced and shut down and maintaining the far left wing narrative, or the big government swamp narrative. They've been tied into it so deeply. It's nice to see that people can actually talk about this and people aren't losing their minds. And the comedians have been tremendous help to that. Carol says, I don't get it. Which part? Sorry, I'm lost.
Yeah, me either.
Yeah. All
You
right.
mean what he said, Carol?
Yeah. Well.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's drive on, and
Yeah.
then we'll get to
an
it.
answer.
Yeah, we'll get an answer.
So I
Delays
got-
and all that.
I got Tucker.
You got Tucker. Tucker's
Ready?
amazing. Yep.
In the week since we left Russia, Moscow, where we are now, in February, after interviewing Vladimir Putin, we've watched from the United States as the Biden administration has driven the U.S. ever closer to a nuclear conflict with Russia, the country that possesses the world's largest nuclear arsenal. It has accelerated ever since, and it's reached its apogee so far in the weeks after Trump's election. He's now the president-elect. In that time, just a few weeks ago, the Biden administration, American military personnel launched missiles into mainland Russia and killed at least a dozen Russian soldiers. So we are, unbeknownst to most Americans, in a hot war with Russia, an undeclared war, a war you did not vote for and that most Americans don't want, but it is ongoing. And because of that war, because of the fact that the U.S. military is killing Russians in Russia right now, we are closer to nuclear war than at any time in history, far closer than we were during the Cuban Missile Crisis. That would mean the elimination of Russia, the United States, and most of the rest of the world. We felt there must be someone behind the scenes in Washington working to make sure that this conflict doesn't become a nuclear holocaust. But we found out that no, in fact, there is nobody. Tony Blinken, the current Secretary of State, cut off all contact between the U.S. and Russian governments. There is no back channel. There is no conversation. There hasn't been for more than 2 years. That's shocking. Meanwhile, most Americans have no access to any perspective other than that granted to them by NBC News and the New York Times. They don't know how close we are. They don't know the Russian perspective. We've been trying for over a year to get that perspective out to American news consumers. We've also tried for over a year to get an interview with Zelensky, the president of Ukraine. We've attacked that from a bunch of different angles. We've spoken to a lot of different people around him, had dinner with them. We've been in talks continuously, and those efforts have been thwarted by the U.S. government. The American embassy in Kiev, which our tax dollars pay for, told the Zelensky government, no, you may not do the interview. You can talk to CNN, you can't talk to us. So we've been unable to speak to him. So we came back to Moscow yesterday to interview the foreign minister of Russia, Sergei Lavrov, the longest serving foreign minister in the world. He's been a part of this government for 25 years. He's been in the diplomatic corps for over 40. And ask him, where exactly are we? Are we headed toward an unprecedented conflict between Russia and the United States? Is there any way to peel Russia back from the east, from the sphere of China, back into the west? Is that alliance permanent? And does the election of Donald Trump mean an end to this war, which is reshaping the world, the U.S. economy, the global economy, and risking the life of every person on this planet? Is that possible? We just walked out of that interview. It's absolutely fascinating. It's coming very soon. We hope you'll watch.
Thoughts?
All right. So this isn't the first time America's been in this kind of a situation. The Cuban Missile Crisis also did not have the bat phone, the red line between the Kremlin and the White House. That's the reason why we got the red line between those two major portions of the world's leadership. So what's happening in this kind of a scenario? Well, I can assure you that the CIA is actually doing amazing things in the background, preventing World War III from actually kicking off. Because if Joe Biden actually were to do the wrong series of things, I'm sure that World War III could be popped off like that before we even know it, and we're all toast. I don't think that's the direction we're heading, because I know that most people recognize that that's not a good scenario for us. It's a good scenario for the eugenicists, the Bill Gates and company who feel that we need to have our population down to 500 million globally. That's the people that are trying to make these kinds of things happening. We can hope and pray for the people who have the ability to hit that launch button that they would consider greatly before they continue to launch missiles. But I also understand the situation that they're in, having to follow lawful orders and firing missiles into a nation that we're not at war with, and killing their military members has a potential to be frowned upon, not just here, but also globally. So I don't envy any of the people that are in that position. Things miss all the time. Oh, thanks, Aaron. Truly appreciate that Rumble rant, man. Says, cheers. I love this show and had a great week. Sold out all of the last year's because of shipping of one species. Man, that's great. Congratulations. Things have really been looking up for you, and we do truly appreciate that. Make sure you're taking care of yourself first, though, sir. But it is greatly appreciated.
Greatly.
Okay. Now, so what's happening? Well, the CIA, they have contacts all over the place. And this is exactly what prevented World War III from starting at the Cuban Missile Crisis. It were people that had connections with people inside of the government, and it was back channel communications. There's going to be tons and tons of back channel communications right now. And who knows what's going on in the background, but I can tell you everything that's happening is significant, and it's done to make sure that we do get to the inauguration day. And I do have full faith that we will get there. I also have faith that the Obama administration, part 3 that we're going through right now, is going to do everything they can to try to sabotage the incoming president, but they're not going to be successful. this is exactly why Americans voted these Obamaites out, during this election and the previous election and the election before that. But now we're actually going to see the fruits of that labor, and these people won't have the ability to do any of the things that they've been doing. We just got to get to that point. So keep it cool, keep eating that popcorn, and hopefully it's not irradiated, and we should all be fine.
Absolutely. Are you ready?
Irradiated popcorn sucks.
I know. You ready?
Mm-hmm.
Let's listen.
So you know that Rothschild that just passed away in the mountains of California in a fire? That it took them 33 minutes to put out? That seems very oddly specific. But were you aware that this happened in a place called Laurel Canyon? Are you familiar with Laurel Canyon? Maybe I can refresh your memory or tell you something new here today that you didn't know. Laurel Canyon was the home of Wonderland Air Force Base. Wonderland Air Force Base had created an entire studio on their acres of property. This studio was not just for recording music, but it was also for making films. This was the propaganda arm of our military. And it's pretty fascinating stuff if you think about it, because not only did they infiltrate the music industry, but they also infiltrated the film industry. And this is pretty well known by most of us at this point, at least I hope so. But what's super interesting is that each of the homes up there, many of them, if not all of them, have tunnels that connect to each other underground. Not just to each other, but all the way down into town, all the way down into nightclubs. Fun things like that. There was a huge movement in the 60s when the war was starting out. And a lot of the people at the time, similar to today, wanted nothing to do with it. They were peace-loving people who said, this isn't our fight. I don't want to go to war. And it became a hippie movement. Well, the wonderful Wonderland Air Force Base decided they wanted to put their hand in manipulation into this movement. So they completely manufactured artists such as The Doors, Joni Mitchell, and I could go on. There's so many. But these artists, a lot of them were not even artists to begin with. Some of them had never even touched an instrument in their entire lives. And so they would fly in people into this Air Force Base to make sure that the sound that was coming out of these records was pristine and beautiful, although it wasn't even actually played by the frontmen of these bands. It's pretty fascinating stuff. Apparently they ended these programs after a while. That's what they say anyway. I think they just moved. But Laurel Canyon is also well known for other things too, like Charles Manson and his cult. Here's an interesting connection for you. The guy who ended up buying Wonderland Air Force Base, because now it's decommissioned, is Jared Leto. Yeah, he owns it now. Just think of the things he could produce in that space. And what's interesting is he also seems to have a cult-like following. Yeah. Fascinating stuff. Go down that rabbit hole of the Laurel Canyon. You'll be fascinated, I promise. Houdini even had a house there. In fact, I think you can go on this app and find a video when his house went up for sale or something. Anyway, they toured it, and you could see the lavish gardens, and they even mentioned the tunnels. These things that you call conspiracy theories actually go way further back than you realize. It's not something that just started in the 21st century. It's been going on for a really, really long time. Do yourself a favor and look into Laurel Canyon. I love you.
All right. Kay's getting that name right now, Jenny. Yeah, it was an interesting little article, wasn't it? And Jenny says that she'd been looking at her earlier, does a lot of stuff about music. Go ahead.
Mojave and Wolf is her name.
Nice. All right. So that's Mojave and Wolf. Thank you for sharing that. Former military bases seem to get snatched up by bigger kinds of organizations, people with lots of money, and for some reason they seem to be end up getting used for nefarious reasons sometimes. I don't understand that. Isn't that a little strange? But it makes a lot of sense because it's a lot of land that people haven't been allowed on except for very few people, and they ain't trying to go back to the old base. So what does that really mean? Wow, it certainly does make it easy for people to try to create a whole bunch of things that just don't make sense out in the real world. They can have that privacy and separation from the rest of society, and it allows things like these to happen. But even then, it's something that's been around for a long time. Even Harry Houdini had a house there.
Yeah.
Hmm. And then all of these weird coincidences that, are attached to that place, like Charles Manson and all these others. All of these band members came out of nowhere. Some of them don't even know how to play a musical instrument, but now they're in some kind of pop band.
Pretty interesting.
It is very interesting. This is one of those things, and consider, Laurel Canyon.
Yes.
And this is one of those things where if it's got Harry Houdini involved in this, and you think about the kind of wisdom that he could share in a group of people who are planning on deceiving an entire nation, I mean, that would probably be a pretty decent person to, help advise in those kinds of scenarios. How far are we going to find out that this has been going on? Are we going to get the truth that this is actually biblical? That would be nice. But if not, is that one of the parts that people are still going to have to figure out on their journey to try to find their relationship with God? I don't know. This leaves so many more questions than it does answers.
Yeah.
But that's one of the beauties of going down the rabbit holes is there's always something to look at.
Yeah.
Let's see. Chachi says deep state CIA created the hippie culture. 100%. 100%. Yeah, it's psyop, complete psyop. And it was a great place to do it. Clearly, it was very effective.
Steph agrees.
Yes, she does.
So does Wendy.
So does Wendy. Yeah, as well as the LSD. 100%.
Mm-hmm.
Robert Seffer got a cool video about the Laurel Canyon stuff on YouTube. All right. SCPHR. There we go. Robert
Everyone
Seffer.
go look that up.
There you go.
You ready?
Mm-hmm.
I got Justin.
Nice.
All right, I got a legitimate question for you guys. I'm just leaving the gym and I seen a TikTok, and this is a pretty big content creator. He said that when women see men alone, especially when they're in packs, a group of women, they see a guy sitting alone in a restaurant, they see him out and about and he's alone, they view him as incompatible. In other words, it's a weakness. And, I'm like, I'm always alone. I'm always in restaurants alone. Everywhere I go, I'm by myself. And I'm like, is that really how y'all think? Do y'all really think like that? Because my mindset has been that I'm looking for a wife, but I'm going to have a relationship with God to find her. I'm going to have to go through God to find her. And I'm believing for the same thing. But does the world really? Now, this guy's got almost 400,000 followers, and I'm not debating him. I'm asking a question. Do y'all really see men that are alone like that? Because I live in a town. I don't know anybody. I'm not from here. I don't have high school buddies or anybody. I don't even work here. I work 50 miles away. I don't know anybody in this town. The only people I've learned to know is the people that own the restaurant or run the restaurant that I go to all the time. But that's it. But do y'all women, really view a man sitting by himself and by himself a lot as weakness, as incompatible, as, a reject? I mean, a legit question. Please let me know in the comments.
See, I don't believe that. I don't believe that a man sitting alone is incompatible or as a weakness. He is in the middle of finding whatever he needs to find. And just because so women, if you go out to dinner by yourself, does that mean you're incompatible or you're weak? You can go have a meal by yourself. It's about learning to be with yourself and be with God before you can be with someone else. Anyway, thoughts?
I'm just checking out the comments here. I can understand how people would get there. Oh, they're alone. They must be a loner. They're probably that way for a reason. And that's a very human flaw because you're making an assessment based off of what? 2-second observation as to whether or not somebody's alone. Somebody could have just left or somebody could be on their way there. It's human nature to jump to conclusions. And it's it's weird because we screw ourselves when we do make these snap judgments, and that person might actually be comfortable alone. And I think that that's something that we as humanity have forgotten, that that's where we're supposed to be able to be mentally, spiritually, physically. We should be able to sit alone, not have a care or concern in the world. You know, we don't need anybody else in our lives. We don't have to, have somebody else. Is it nice? Yeah. But at the same time, solitude and silence sure can be nice.
Yeah, exactly. And you know what? Steph says she buys lunch and stuff by herself all the time when she's out and about. And Aaron says 90% of the time I prefer quiet solitude. And honestly, I would rather go eat alone than sit across from someone who's sitting on their phone while I'm trying to have lunch with them or dinner with them. And I see that all the time where both parties are on their phone. It's like, why didn't you just stay your asses at home or go by yourself if you're just going to sit there on your phone? Because if you're going out with someone, you should be having a conversation. When Santino and I have a date night or whatever, we don't get on our phones. We talk with each other. So again, I would rather go by myself if it's just going to be a case where they're on their phone.
If they're on their phone, you're by yourself anyways because they're
Yeah.
not interacting with you. It's the most insulting thing, I believe, when you're with somebody and you're talking and then all of a sudden, it's like, hey, ass, I was here first. It was like, when back in the day when you'd go to the store and we had money to go buy stuff because the economy was good and all that, and you would get to the counter and you were making your purchase and you're talking and then the phone rings and then they stop everything they're doing to go on the phone. Hey, is there nobody else in this department store that can answer that phone? You have to answer that phone?
Yeah.
Those two people over there playing grab ass can't answer the phone? Because I've already given you my time and now you're wasting my time. You have taken what I have provided, i.e. giving you my time and money, and now you have decided to put me on the back burner.
Yeah.
What's the difference between that and going out on a date and then somebody being on the phone because, oh, well, I got to stay in touch with this or that or the other thing? If it takes 1 second, fine. A couple seconds, 5, 10, 15, 20 seconds, fine. If it's something that's more important and you got to leave because it's an emergency, that's fine too. But my God, unless it's emergency, leave the damn phone alone.
Yeah.
Whatever. Anyways, Jenny says, I find it hard to be around too many people, especially when I see how fake some are.
Yeah.
It happens, Jenny. It happens.
Yeah.
Yeah. We just have to understand that, we're all on a different phase in our path and maybe we're there to help them get past that. I have no idea. Steph says, absolutely. Stay off your phone. That's what's wrong with everybody. They stop communicating, but they think that they're connected by this digital box.
Yeah.
Which truly separates the real meaningful human connection that we all necessarily are supposed to have in our life. Esto says, this is so strange. Who are these women who think this? Weird. Chachi, let's see. Hope says that Chachi, that Rothschild that died in that house fire recently in LA was in Laurel Canyon near Wonderland Elementary School. Agreed, Santino and Kay. Shitload of common courtesy lost from these damn phones. Yeah, we'll get there one day. Wendy says, the few people I occasionally do things with are always on their phone, and it hurts because I need that human connection that I get so little of. You know what? Again, remember, it's about them. And I can assure you that they're more lonely than you are. They just don't recognize it because they don't ever sit alone with their thoughts and recognize what they really want in life. So it's good that you're there for them, especially for that point in time in their life.
Something.
Yeah, I would say something, but being able to communicate to them that this is not fair, it is to you, it's disrespectful. I think that people need to understand that, because I think that that's a common courtesy that we all forgot that used to be so apparent to all of us. People aren't going to understand what etiquette and courtesy are unless they're told that you are breaking etiquette or you are breaking common courtesy. Thank you, Chachi. Appreciate you sharing that link. Carol says, we talked with the guy loading our feed today for about a half an hour. Just shooting the shit. Take the time. And the next time you see that individual, they will remember you and they will like you. And you can have this new relationship with somebody, even though it's professional, it can still be an amazing friendship that you get. And you never know where you might be able to help them out or they might be able to help you out in the future.
Aaron says, I will straight up walk away from people when they are staring at their phone and being rude during a conversation. And Steph says it's rude and disrespectful. It absolutely is.
Mhm.
Put the damn phone down.
Anyway, all right, let's drive on.
You ready? Let's listen. This is about Doge.
What happened?
If you followed Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy and their efforts that are going to be set forth with the new department Doge, or Department of Government Efficiency, you've heard that they are pretty indifferent with the amount of federal workers that are working from home. Ever since COVID, it seems like Washington, D.C. is pretty much empty with respect to federal workers. Well, being the forward-looking man that he is, Joe Biden negotiated a deal with union workers today, guaranteeing 42,000 of them could continue their work-from-home practices through 2029, effectively crippling Elon and Vivek's plan to get these assholes working from their office. Once again, Joe Biden putting America first.
Thoughts?
How did he do that again?
He told them they could stay home until 2029.
How did he do that? Just an executive.
Yeah. Guess who can undo that?
Yeah, that one. Poof, gone. Yeah, don't breathe too easy.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably not going to work out very well.
Nope.
Good luck.
Yep. Good luck.
Start your search.
Yeah. You ready?
Yeah.
Let's listen.
You may notice that I have not yet, nor will I, offer my opinion as to whether there was actually fraud in that election or not. I don't have an opinion as to whether there was or was not, because I would want to actually see the investigation to know one way or the other.
You haven't seen the investigation?
I've seen the preliminary investigation, but I never saw a follow-up investigation by law enforcement to conclusively prove or disprove that probable cause, because it wasn't done.
So why wasn't it done?
Herein lies the big question. When Trump asked Barr to do the investigation, why wasn't it done? In this call that you're asking me about, he's begging the Georgia state officials, have your law enforcement officers go out and do an investigation. And they said, no. The part that you're talking about, find this many votes, in itself is damning. If he believed he had won by over 100,000 votes, the way that I look at that, the way that I would argue it to a jury, and the way that President Trump has stated it, that is a statement of scope, not result.
Thoughts?
Steph says Elon told them to get their asses back in the office or they didn't have a job and they can't do the same thing at the companies. Yeah. All right. So why didn't the FBI investigate? Really, I know that the investigation was done.
Never said.
Yeah, he never said. But that's kind of what it was about. Is they didn't investigate. Honestly, I believe that we didn't hear about the remainder of the investigation because it would have been too soon and people would have lost their minds. I have a feeling that once cash gets in the FBI, one more of the many things that are going to get released, I'm going to go with the Kennedy assassination as well. But it's going to have to be done curated time after time, over the course of time. Trying to protect certain individuals. We know that's why we didn't hear anything. Is the information there? Oh, I'm pretty sure that most of all of the information was already there. I think that they just suppress all of it. That's how they do it. I don't think much of an investigation needs to happen afterward. I think that we just need cash to come in and read the reports and see what's going on. I don't even think that there will be holes in the investigation. I think it's just something that's been suppressed. And I think that that's one of the things that we're going to find out. Also, if that is the case, if the FBI knew, they had completely investigated it, they realized that there was a fraud and a theft of the election, the presidential election, and that it went to the wrong person, and it comes out that the FBI knew about it, that sure does make it a lot easier to turn the Jedgar Hoover building into the Museum of
for
the Deep State.
Mhm.
Yeah, it'd make it pretty easy. Yeah, that's how that one's going to play out, I have a feeling. Aaron says, when Doge was announced, what, a month ago, Elon Musk talked about 1 to 2 year severance packages for government employees. I'm for it, and here's why. Yes.
It's right there.
Oh, okay. They would have money and time to learn a new skill and see how great America is while on vacay under Trump. Yeah, that's what they need, vacations.
Yeah.
So, thank you. I believe it's valid. Hey, Brother Bill, made it back. Y'all are still on. We usually are. I mean,
Welcome back.
We're almost at the 2 hours. Cut us some slack, man.
Yeah. Goodness. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Let's listen.
Oh my gosh, I wish I loved Jesus like you do. If you saw how much brokenness and wounds and sinful struggles that I'm fighting off with in my secret life, you would think I hated Jesus. But I'm not a Christian because I love Jesus. I'm a Christian because Jesus loves me. He found me. He's working on me. He's transforming me. That's the powerful thing.
Thoughts?
How many times have you and I said we didn't choose him, or at least for me anyways, I didn't choose him, he chose me. And it wasn't a choice. I can tell you that I go through struggles all the time. Surprise, surprise, I'm human. Anyway, we're all human. We all go through struggles. Even those people that we think that are probably some of the most pure as the fresh driven snow kind of people, I'm sure that they go through struggles every day in life. And they just have different practices than so many of us have gotten used to through all sorts of various reasons. But they are vigilant. They are persistent. They are focused on making sure that they're doing the right things.
He's knocking every day.
Yeah, he's knocking every day. And so we need to remember that no matter what it looks like on the outside, people are struggling. People are always struggling. It's just some are more used to the struggles, and so it may be transparent on their face or whatever the case is. I can tell you, I watch that guy on TikTok all the time. He normally doesn't talk. That's why we don't play him very much. Same thing with Italian Princess. Great information, just difficult to relay, and having to pause and play and read and all that other crap can be a pain in the butt.
Especially when people are just listening and not watching.
Yeah. And so it was great to hear this from him for me, because to me, and in my mind, as I've watched him, I honestly thought that he didn't have many struggles. I thought that he was so far down his path at this point that, he was beyond having to concern himself with struggles, as ridiculous as that may sound. That's kind of where I was in my head. And so when he said that, it made it clear for me that, hey, we're all human. Like Little Lunker says, we all struggle. It doesn't matter who it is. Steph says, amen. I go through struggles every day. The struggle is real, but thank God that he loves me so much. Amen. He does love us. And the fact that, he chose me to stop being who I was, I'm truly humbled and grateful. And I pray that I am doing the things that I'm supposed to be doing, even though I know that he's already got it all figured out. But whatever, I'm still human and go through this crap in my head. Anyways, Carol says, who, me? Wendy says, excuse me, y'all ended just after 8:30 my time last night. I made it home in time for y'all to be heading out. You did.
My fault. I didn't get enough videos. That was all me.
Yeah. Hey, cut us some slack. One time we shut down 30 minutes early, and this is what we get.
Yeah.
Wow. It's all right. We'll probably make up for some of it tonight if y'all will be so kind and forgiving.
Yes.
Aaron says, most putting on a perfect face are pretty awful or struggling or messed up behind the scenes. That very much could be the case on so many occasions. I agree with you there.
Mhm.
Carol says, that's better than watching and not listening.
Yeah.
Yes, Steph, such blessing. I thank God he loves me so much, even when I didn't love myself.
Amen.
Amen.
I'm glad you got in and out of there, and you go ahead and you burn that, Bill. Burn it away. Burn it away.
I didn't get to read that one. I didn't get to it yet, but that's fine. All right.
You ready?
Yes, ma'am.
Let's listen.
Remember this. God made you different, so don't mess that up by trying to be like everyone else. Think about it. There's no one with your mind, your spirit, your fire. The world doesn't need another copy. It's starving for authenticity. You were crafted with precision, like a one-of-a-kind masterpiece. But too often, we dim our light to blend in, trading uniqueness for approval. The Stoics understood this. Marcus Aurelius said, "Be content with what you are. Your power lies in owning your truth. Stop apologizing for being different. It's your greatest strength. Stand tall. Speak boldly. Live unapologetically. The crowd, let them judge. You, keep shining, because the sun doesn't care who it blinds."
All right, Santino.
The sun doesn't care who it blinds. That's an interesting little statement there. You know what? God made each and every one of us unique and different. And praise be to God that he did, because this would be a boring ass world if we were just a bunch of Stepford, whatever the hell we are, even though people are too busy trying to be that. But that's the warning that was being provided there, is that you were made, create, and unique. You know, we're all unique, special little snowflakes. And then we need to embrace that. But we don't embrace our snowflakedness so much as we embrace what unique gifts and talents he has given us, so that way we can provide it to the world around us. And really, when you think about that, he gives each and every one of us an opportunity to achieve the maximum of whatever it is that we can be. It's just up to us to hold on to that, to grab onto that, and to let that little light shine. And the only way to let it shine is to embrace who you are, your unique character, differences and traits. I know I got all sorts of quirks, but at the same time, we just have to get comfortable with who we are. And when we're comfortable with who we are, we are authentic to ourselves. And when we're authentic to ourselves, then other people can resonate and be drawn to that. So make sure that you're being exactly who you were created to be. And you may or may not know what your unique gifts and talents are, but as we do the things that we have been designed to do, it becomes more and more apparent, and life will get into this flow state. And that's what we're really looking for, where it feels like everything's happening exactly the way it should, because we find ourselves in the right place at the right time, doing exactly whatever it is we should be doing. And we feel that there's nothing in the world that could be better than living at that very moment. And those are the moments when we're living the gifts that we've been giving. So let's make sure that we're not denying who we are as individuals, and making sure that we're putting a magnifying glass on that. So that way, not only can we see what that uniqueness is and what benefit that can provide to the world around us, but it will also show to the world the things that we have been provided that we can give to other people, so they can be uniquely them and find their true authentic selves. And I think in the end, if we're all living in that flow state because we're being who we were designed to be, what more could we ask for while we're here on this plane of existence? Praise be to God that we're all different.
Exactly. I believe he did, Carol. I believe he did call him the Morning Star.
He did. Also, Yeshua was called the Morning Star as well.
Yep.
Yeah, that's kind of, I don't want to call it a rabbit hole, but that's definitely something in our studies that we should be paying attention to.
Yeah.
And yeah, good catch.
Yeah. And also, just some seasoning on that.
Please.
This would be very boring if we were all the same. And I know for a fact the world couldn't handle two Santinos, and the world couldn't handle two Ks, because we're very feisty people. We're both fire signs. He's an Aries. I'm a Leo.
Aries are always better.
And sometimes we have to take a drink of water and calm down when we're talking to each other.
Because those Leos have an ego.
We do. A big one. And that's something that I've been working on. But I will say this. Be your authentic self. Because it makes you who you are. And it makes this world such a great place. So just love yourself and do.
And don't be freaking boring.
And don't be boring. And don't worry about what other people think. Because if someone else has something against you, it's more likely their problem than it is yours.
Very true. Very true.
Yep.
All right, everybody. Well, we're 4 minutes past for y'all who are counting. Anyways, it's been a great week, and that's all because of all of y'all. Thank you very much for showing up, and it's a wonderful time for us to be able to hear what y'all have to say. It enlightens us, and I think that's some of the greatest fun that we have here. Let's see. Brother Bill says, going back to that other question, that's because before he fell, Lucifer was the light bearer for worshiping God in heaven. He was the worship leader. Amen. Leader of the choir. 100%. Jenny says, when you're athletic, the right people come around. Authentic. Yes, that's it. Thank you. Steph says, yes. Carol, I just went and looked it up. They both were called the Morning Star, but Yeshua was called the Bright Morning Star.
Yep.
Go. Yes.
There you
Education.
go.
See, I know y'all are the best. Y'all teach me stuff all the time, just like right there.
There you go.
Anyways, thank you all for joining us for another week.
We will miss you this
we're going to
weekend.
miss y'all this weekend. But we look forward to seeing y'all at the same time on Monday at 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific on that channel, be it Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, X, Rumble, and pill.net.
She wants us to make up for yesterday.
Now, it's the weekend. It's that time. It's that time.
I smell dinner, and it smells
dinner's
amazing.
cooking. We don't want it to. You don't want our dinner to burn, do you?
Exactly. Oh God, no, Aaron, no, he's not pressing it for 20
We
minutes.
can do that for 20 minutes.
No, sir, you cannot. No, please.
I think the
stop.
sound actually lasts about 5 seconds, so that would be
No,
20 times a minute
Anyway,
for 20
if you haven't
minutes.
already,
So it'd be like
if you
400
haven't
times.
given us that virtual hug, please stop. I'm begging you. If you haven't given us that virtual hug yet, please, if you're over on YouTube or Rumble, hit that thumbs up. If you're over on pill.net, take that red pill. If you're over on X, smash that heart. And if you're on Facebook, you have like 7 different choices. And we know you all love to push buttons because you guys love us. And we push buttons all the time. And I'm going to throw my scissors at you if you do that one more time.
Thank God this week is ending.
And you're not getting any dinner. And stew is for dinner, Wendy, because it's cold.
All right, everybody. We love you all. Have a great weekend. Be safe, and God bless each and every one of you.